Hey guys, guess what? We're going to continue and then look at something very beautiful as we take a sweet ride on what is coordinate geometry. So follow me as I go through everything together. So if we are to define coordinate geometry, what should we know? First and foremost, this is our lesson 1. Oh yes. So in the definition of coordinate geometry, the first thing I would like to draw your attention to first is the fact that coordinate geometry is also called analytical geometry. When you just hear analytic, whether they say analytic geometry or analytical geometry, they mean the same thing. That is your coordinate geometry. And it is a branch of mathematics that deals with the study of what? Your geometry using coordinate points. So once you go, what is your coordinate geometry? Coordinate geometry, also called your analytic geometry or analytical geometry, is a branch of mathematics that deals with the study of geometry using what? Your coordinate points. And I'm going to be showing your coordinate point very quickly. For example, let me say you are in an aircraft that is moving from a flight from Nigeria to London. The question is, how will the pilot know that, okay, you've gotten to London? What happened? Is it that the pilot is going to see a big, giant billboard, right? Or somebody is waving, hey, you have arrived London, or you have arrived London, welcome, welcome. Is that what happens? No. In other words, the pilots make use of what is called your coordinates, right? And they know exactly which side is north, where is your east, where is your south, where is your west, using your coordinates. So these are the things we are going to be looking at. Now follow me very quickly. You must understand that in coordinate geometry, points in a plane are represented by ordered pairs. Sapita. What represent points in a plane? They are called ordered pairs. And these ordered pairs are typically numbers. And those numbers are, for example, when you just see something of this nature, they say you're probably your x, y. If you watch, how many values do we have there? 2, right? But x will always come first before y. That 2 is what we refer to as ordered pair. Now, coordinate geometry, we said that there are points in a plane that are typically represented by what? Ordered pairs. And those ordered pairs are numbers written as your x, y. And that x there represents the horizontal position. Follow me squarely. What does the x represent? Horizontal position. And that horizontal position is called your abscissa. And then y is the vertical position representing your what? Your ordinates. So there's what is called your abscissa and there's what is called ordinates. As in the hot, in the bond. Follow me, I'll show you. Look at this, for example. Let's say we have a coordinate system of this nature, and you already know where your y-axis is, and you know where your x-axis is, right? Now listen, we said that x here, where x represents the horizontal position. So x, that is the horizontal position, is called your what? Your abscissa. So this is called the abscissa. So pronounce after me very quickly. What is this? Your abscissa, right? Oh yes. So that is your x there, abscissa. What about the y? The y is called the ordinate. Ordinate. Very simple. So anytime you hear the y-axis, what do we call it? Ordinate. X is what? Abscissa. Don't go and miss the 2. X is the abscissa. You know, you always call x first before you call your y, right? For example, when they say 2, 3 as your coordinate plane, point on the coordinate plane 2, 3. What is the x-axis there? X is 2. Then the y there is what? 3. Since you always call x before y, I just wanted to store this. The one that letter A now is the one that starts first. A there is abscissa, right? Y is the what? Ordinate. So just store that one very fast. Now also look at this quickly. You can see that we have our coordinate plane. You can see your y-axis. You can see your what? Your x-axis. Let's say, for example, we decide to position the point. Now you can see the points very quickly, right? These points, let's call it point P, and that is x, y. That's the coordinate of the point P is what? X, y. Flow with me. Just be listening to the terms I'm using, the terminologies, before you know all these things will come inside you, right? The coordinate of your point P, what is it? X, y. So can I trace my x? Yes, I can trace it to the what? To the y-axis. So probably if here were to be 5 on the y-axis, we're just assuming, and I can also trace it to the what x-axis. So let's say, for example, here is your tree. Please, what is the coordinates of your p? Nothing but your what? Your p is always x comma y. That will be 3 comma what 5. This is exactly how it's going to be. Does it make sense? If you understand it very quickly, now follow me very fast. You must understand that the coordinates that we are talking about, they allow us to locate points. They allow us to locate your lines, your curves, and other geometric objects on a plane. These are their usefulness. They allow us to locate your what? Your points, your lines, your curves, and other geometric objects on a what? On a plane. If you understand this quickly with me, guess what? This is the end of your lesson 1. See you, bro, in our lesson 2, where we're going to be going a little higher. Enjoy. Catch you there.
Hold on a bit very quickly. This class you're watching right now is just one out of a series of classes within the LearnLift app. And guess what? LearnLift is a mobile app, right, where you study intensively as well as extensively. So within the LearnLift app, you can see it very quickly. You have access to all your subjects there. You have your use of English, you have your mathematics, you have your physics, you have your chemistry, you have your biology, you have your JAM 400. All of them, they are different subjects within the LearnLift app. And of course, you have different topics under every particular subject. And everything has been narrowed down to you, down to the curriculum, with their past questions and everything to the core. And don't forget that within the LearnLift app, you have access to your video lessons, where you can start going through your classes uninterrupted. You have access to your notes. Oh yes, your notes, well organized, well structured for you, and you are running through all of them. And of course, inside the notes are past questions for you. You have access to your past questions in CBT format, where you can go through all of them extensively well. All of it within the LearnLift app for you and more. And guess what? Very important. You want to download the LearnLift app? All you need to just do is head down to Play Store or your App Store and type LearnLift. That's all. Once you type LearnLift, of course, the app is going to pop up for you, and you're going to see the logo, and then you download the app, and then you follow up on your studies intensively. Before we proceed, let's get back to class. Flow with me.
Hello, guys. Guess what? We're going to be looking interestingly into your coordinate system. We've looked at your lesson 1, which is Introduction to Coordinate Geometry. And this lesson 2 is your coordinate what? System. Oh yes, let's go together and look at every single thing we need to know under this very fast. Now, in your coordinate system, the first question is, what is a coordinate system? How do you define it? Just go straight and tell us that. A coordinate system or reference point. What is coordinate system also called? Reference points. Is a mathematical system or essential device that is used to uniquely determine the position of a point or set of points in space. In other words, the goal of your coordinate system or your reference points is to uniquely or accurately determine the position of points or the set of points in space. Are you getting it now? Now, another interesting part of this whole stuff is that there are 2 types of your coordinate system. And what are the 2 types of coordinate system? Number 1 is called 2-dimensional coordinate system. What's number 1 called? A 2-dimensional coordinate system. And number 2 is the one we call your 3-dimensional coordinate system. So the 2 types of coordinate system are either 2-dimensional or what? 3-dimensional. But can I tell you something? Now look at it here. Which one is a 2-dimensional coordinate system? A 2-dimensional coordinate system represents points in a plane. Please understand this word. A 2-dimensional system represents points in a way, in a plane. Exam question. What about a 3-dimensional system? A 3-dimensional coordinate system represents points in space. One is in a plane, 2-dimensional. One is in space, 3-dimensional. Okay, so how do I know that? Now look at this very quickly. If I have this is a 2-dimensional coordinate system. Why? Because it is different from a 3-dimensional coordinate system. A 2-dimensional represents what? Points in a plane. I'm still re-echoing it. A 3-dimensional represents points in what? In space. Now for the 2-dimensional, of course, it has only the y-axis and the x-axis. That's all. What about for a three-dimensional? In fact, it is more than that. It has what is called the y-axis, the x-axis, and even the z-axis. And they are positioned in such a way that they are almost at right angles to each other, almost to show you get now. But your two-dimensional system, that one is what? Plain exam question. Now, why are the anchor on them? If you understand that very quickly with me, now let's rock something important. In the whole of these lessons, we're going to focus on two-dimensional coordinate system because that is what they want us to know for the noun. Now, which one is a two-dimensional coordinate system? Now, let's say, for example, we have this. You know that this is your positive y-axis. Of course, that's y-axis, but it is the positive y-axis. And you can see your positive x-axis. Okay, if we have positive, that means there should be negative. Yes, this is your negative y-axis. This is your what? Your negative x-axis in your two-dimensional that we're going to be focusing on. Okay. Now, another interesting thing is the fact that this guy here is the point that we call 0. Any point that we call 0, what is it called? It is called the origin. And the origin there, the coordinate for it is just 0, 0, because at that origin, x-axis and the y-axis, they are meeting at the point 0. So what is their coordinate there? 0, 0. Can I flow? But you understand it quickly with me. Still under your two-dimensional coordinate system, you must note this, that okay, we have established that this is your positive y and positive x, your negative y, negative what, x, and then we said that okay, this is our 0. Should be normal. But please, this is the first quadrant. Yes, you know your quadrant, right? This location in particular is the first quadrant. Here is the second quadrant, and then here is the third quadrant, and then here is the what? The fourth quadrant. You already know your quadrants, but please let me re-echo them so that we flow together. We have first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and what? Fourth quadrant. Now, if you notice, another important thing they want you to know very fast is, okay, still on this now, in that first quadrant location, what happens here? Don't forget that in the first quadrant, you see this point here. What is x? Positive. X is positive, and then what is y? Y is going to be positive. That's for your what? Your first quadrant here. What about for your second quadrant? In second quadrant, what should happen is this. Of course, x is what? Negative, but your y is what? Positive. Show you the scene and you link the two together there. What about for your third quadrant? Only you tell me what should happen in this third quadrant. Only you yarn me the matter. What will happen very fast? Your x is what? Negative, and then y is what? Negative. What about for the fourth quadrant? Quickly, in the fourth quadrant, you should already know what will happen there. What happened? X is positive, y is negative. Of course, that is exactly what we have. X is positive and then y is negative. Have these things in your heart. If you understand this quickly with me, guess what? Very, very fast. This is the end of our lesson 2. In the next class, we're going to be walking quickly into lesson 3, where we're going to be going a little much more deeper. You know, it is a build. Wherever lesson 1 stop, lesson 2 continue from there. Wherever lesson 5 stop, lesson 6 start from there. So we're going to be going all the way, and then I'm going to be ensuring that you are understanding them bit by bit.
Hold on a bit very quickly. This class you're watching right now is just one out of a series of classes within the LearnLift app. And guess what? LearnLift is a mobile app, right, where you study intensively as well as extensively. So within the LearnLift app, you can see it very quickly. You have access to all your subject there. You have your use of English, you have your mathematics, you have your physics, you have your chemistry, you have your biology, you have your JAM 400. All of them, they are different subjects within the LearnLift app. And of course, you have different topics under every particular subject, and everything has been narrowed down to you, down to the curriculum, with their past questions and everything to the core. And don't forget that within the LearnLift app, you have access to your video lessons, where you can start going through your classes uninterrupted. You have access to your notes. Oh yes, your notes, well organized, well structured for you, and you are running through all of them. And of course, inside the notes are past questions for you. You have access to your past questions in CBT format, where you can go through all of them extensively well. All of it within the LearnLift app for you and more. And guess what? Very important. You want to download the LearnLift app, all you need to just do is head down to Play Store or your App Store and type LearnLift. That's all. Once you type LearnLift, of course, the app is going to pop up for you, and you're going to see the logo, and then you download the app, and then you follow up on your studies intensively. Before we proceed, let's get back to class. Flow with me.
Oh yes. And our change in coordinates is which lesson? Of course, this is our lesson 3. We're going to go sweet. Now follow me. This change in coordinate, very important. What do we refer to here as your change in coordinates? Bam, bam, bam. Follow me. Let's say we have our coordinate plane like this. You can see your y-axis. You can see your x-axis. Another interesting thing is this. Let's say this is a point here, right? And this point, I call it P0. And what is P0? X0, Y0 are the coordinates for that point, P0. And this is another point. And I decide to call this point here P1. And that P1 has coordinates of what? X1, Y1. You see, we have P0 and we have what? X1 on the coordinate system. If I decide to link your P0 and your P1 together, let's join them together. You see, there is that change in position from my P0 all the way to my what? P1. That change in position is what we are referring to there as change in coordinates, right? Now follow me, let me show you something much more sweet. The same is what you already have here looking at you now, right? But let's go deep into it a little. Now this is it here. If there is a movement from the point P0, which has coordinates of x0, y0, to the point P1, which has coordinates of your x1, y1, then we say that the coordinates have changed by what? Increments. So that movement from P0 to my P1, that movement, are you getting it now? Is what we say that the coordinates have changed by what? Increments. Follow me, yo. If you understand that, that's what leads us into what is called your increment formula. So the first formula I'm going to be giving to you in this lesson today is called your increment formula. What is it called? Increment formula. Now, which one is increment formula? Follow me very fast. Increment formula is given by x. Changing x, changing y is equal to my x1 minus x0, y1 minus y0. No play with me or follow me, may understand these things very well. Now, that means that change in position from year to year, that increase is what is referred to, what denoted by your increment formula. And what is your increment formula? I said increment formula is your what? Your change in x, change in y is your what? Your x1 minus your what? Your x0, your y1 minus your what? Your y0. For the last time, close your eyes and tell me, what is increment formula? Increment formula, change in x, change in y is equal to your what? Your x1 minus x0, what? Your y1 minus y0. This is called your increment formula. Say close, I know close. If I know, man, say they follow me play. These are the follow you shine eye at. Now follow me very fast. If you understand this quickly with me and you know your increment formula, let's solve. We're going to be looking at questions as it holds. Now question 1. Find the increments from the point A to the point B. Are you understanding it now? From point A to point B. So you don't stress yourself. All you just do is this. Look at it. You just take this as the first value here. Here's your x0, y0. Here's your what? x1, what? Your y1. And what do we say increment formula is? You know, it's always x, y now. So that is how we position all of them. So what's your increment formula? We said that increment formula is given as your what here? Your x1 minus your x0, nobody will remind you this in the hall. It's only you that we know it, y1 minus your what? Your y0. And this is going to give me very fast. What is x1? X1 is 6, right? I told you that this is x0. Here's your y0. Here's your x1. Here's your what? Y1. Show you see now. What is x1? X1 is what? 6. That will give you 6 minus x0. X0 itself is now minus 6. So you see now 6 minus 6, right? Then this is what we have, 6 minus 6. Then I can close my brackets comfortably well, y1 minus y0. What is your y1? Y1 is minus 2 minus, what is y0? 8 is what we're going to have there. And this will give you your 6 plus 6 plus 6, right? Yes, close the bracket, your minus 2 minus 8. And this is going to give us, what is your 6 plus 6? That's your what? Your 12, How many is here? Minus what? 10 is what we're going to have. 12 comma what? Minus 10. So this automatically become our what? Our answer. So find the increment from this to this. What is the increment there? 12 comma what? Minus 10 is the answer. And that's all you're out of there. Shey is simple. Now look at question 2. You will solve it for me very, very fast as it hot. Question 2 say, find the increment from m to n. And then they gave us the values. Can you solve it for me? Yes, we are pause and solve. Pause it. What's our increment formula? Increment formula, very quickly, what is it? It is your x1 minus your x0, right? Comma, your y1 minus your what? Your y0. And this is going to give me, of course, this is your what? x0, y0. x1, then y1. What is it going to give us? x1 minus x0, that's going to give us nothing but 3 minus 3, right? Comma, y1 minus y0, 1 minus 0. This is what we have. And this will give you what's 3 minus 3? 0, comma, 1 minus 0 is what? 1. So this, like this, is the increment. And you have gotten your answer. You are out of there. Very simple, easy, and direct. Look at the third question, question 3. Question 3, yes, find the increment from m to n. I love it. And they gave us 0, 0 and then 4, 6 as their values. Very fast. What's our increment formula? By now, only you should know that if you want to really do well, you should be pausing the classes and then you are solving yourself. What's increment formula then? It is what? Your x1 minus your what? x0, comma, your y1 minus your what? Your y0. And this is going to give you, by now, you should not be checking your notes again. You should not be looking at your note to check the formula. You should know it yourself. So this is your what? Very fast. This is your x0, y0, x1, y1. And that will give you x1 minus x0. What do we have it to be? 4 minus 0, comma, your y1 minus y0, 6 minus 0. And that will give you what is 4 minus 0? 4 minus 0 is 4, comma, 6 minus 0 is what? 6. And then this, like this, is our final answer. 4, 6, and you are out of there. Does it make sense? Now that you understand this, and you sure you know this very, very well, guess what? Look at question 4. Question 4 all the way says, if our x, y, p, q are points on the coordinate line with coordinates minus 3, 1, 5, 8 respectively, find the following distances. And what were the distances you have to find? The first is your distance xp, distance yp, distance yx, distance what? qp. Now, can we look at this very fast? They say x, y, p are points on the coordinate system with this. Now, let me ask, what's the highest value there? 8, it is. What's the least value there? Minus 3. So, I'm going to draw my coordinate line and then I'm going to use my least value as minus 3, but the highest value is what? 8. Okay, let's go. Let's say this is our what? Our coordinate line that we have. And let's take this point as our 0, right? If this is 0, of course, this is 1. We are going all the way to 8. After 1, what do we have next? You're going to see your 2. You're going to see the next, which is 3. Then you're going to see your 4. Then you're going to see your 5. You're going to see your 6. You're going to see 7. And then we're going to stop at what? 8. So if I have from 0 all the way to 8, but that's not where we are focusing our gaze on. It is minus 3 to 8. So we've settled the positive, let's settle the negative. The least is minus 3. So let's say, okay, that this guy here is our minus 3. What is this guy here? Let's say, yes, our minus 2. And then, of course, we have this guy being our what? Minus 1. So we have balanced everything there. Now, they gave us your x, your y, your p, and your q. What is x? X, they said that x represents respectively x is going to tally with what? Minus 3. So if x tally with minus 3, take your minus 3 and then position here as x. What about your y? Your y is 1. Here is your y, right? Yes. Now, what's your p there? Your p is going to tally with 5, right? Yes, your p. And then your q is going to tally with what? 8. So yes, your q. So they ask us to get the first one, find the following distances. And the first A there is your distance x, what? P, right? What's our distance x, p going to give us? Please, I want you to pay me attention here now. Your distance x, p. So we're going to focus on x and then your what's your p, right? Please, what's it going to give us? It's going to give us your absolute value of your p, x comma p, right? So it's going to be p minus x. Since they are bringing x comma p, take the last one, that is p, then subtract it from x, but the absolute. That's what I'm going to do there. And this is going to give us your absolute value of what's our p? P is 5, right? 5 minus what's x? X is minus your 3, right? Then you close the bracket, then absolute it there. So what is this going to give us there? That's going to be absolute value of your 5 minus 3. That's 5 plus 3. And what is the absolute value of 5 plus 3? That's going to give you absolute value of 8. And what is absolute value of 8? You know that absolute value is any associated absolute value with you. That absolute value is either absolute value of x. For example, what is the answer? X. Absolute value of minus x. What is the answer? X is where you're going to have whether positive or negative is going to give you positive. So what is absolute value of 8 going to give you? 8 is the correct answer to this. But you don't want to come up for this. So what is the answer to the first one? There is 8. Okay, sir, how do I know it's 8? How sure am I? Since it's distance x and p. Now listen though, since it's distance x and p, you know that from x here, just count with me. This is from year to year. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you are there. You've gotten the first one. So now let's see how to get our p, which is distance what? Yp. Apply the same thing, subtract p from y, absolute value of them, and then get the answer. Solve for me very fast. Yeah, let's go. So what is it going to give us? Your p very fast. Say I've gotten your answer. Okay, distance your y comma p. So what are we going to have? You're just going to focus on just your y and your p alone, right? Yes. And that's going to give you absolute value of your p minus your what? Your y. And that's nothing but your p is 5 minus y is 1. What is it going to give you? That's absolute value of 4. And what is the absolute value of 4? What's the answer? 4 is going to be the answer, definitely. Because from year to year is 1, 2, 3, and then 4. You've gotten your answer, and then you are out of there, right? Okay, let me solve for C here very fast. What is C? Distance, your what? Your y, comma, what? X. Your y, comma, x. And then that's going to give you your y and then your x, right? That means you're going to subtract x from y. That's going to give you absolute value of what? Your x minus your what? Your y. And that's going to give you x. What's your value of x there? X is minus 3, right? Minus, what's your y? Y is 1. And that's going to give you absolute value of what's minus 3 minus 1? That's minus 4. Absolute value of negative, what will always give you? Positive. The answer is what here? 4 is the correct answer. Look at it now. From year to year is 1, 2, 3, and then 4. You've gotten your answer. Left with the last, which is your what? Your D. Very fast, right? Yeah, follow me. Let's solve it together. So how do you get for D? Very quickly, your D is your distance, what? Your Q, comma, what? P. And that's going to give you absolute value of it. Will be P minus Q, right? Normal. So your P minus your what? Your Q. Absolute value. So absolute value of what's your P there? That's 5 minus Q. What's Q there? 8, right? So that's going to give you absolute value of what's 5 minus 8. 5 minus 8 is going to give you minus 3. And absolute value of minus 3, what will it be? 3 just become the answer, and then you are out of there. So you see that all of these things are very, very simple, right? Oh, yes. If you understand this question for very quickly, now let's look at question number 5. In our question number 5, we're given this beautiful question. Find the terminal point or the terminal position, terminal, of a particle that starts from A, and they give the value, and the coordinate change by increment of x has changed by this, and then this guy has changed by this. Now listen carefully. Let's assume that here is our point A, and then that A is minus 2, 3. Follow me. And then it moved from A all the way to your point B. And then what is your P? Your P is what we don't know. So let's call your B here x1, what? y1, right? And the increment change in x is your 5, and then change in y is minus 6, right? And then we are to get what the terminal or the final point or position is going to be. Is it not cheap question? Now, what's your increment formula? You know that your increment formula is given as your what? Very fast. Your x1, right? Minus your x0, comma. What do we have there? Your y1 minus your what? Your y0. So this is your increment formula, normal. Now, can I get my x1 and y1 from there? That's what the question is practically saying. Let me not stress you. Let me just give you the easiest way to get it. So what is your x1 going to give you very fast? Listen, your x1 here is going to be whatever you have as, there is x, right? Minus 2 is x naught. X naught plus 5, add them together is going to give you x1. That's going to give you nothing but your minus 2 plus your 5. And what is your y1 going to give you? Your y1 is going to give you, what is your y naught? 3. That's 3 plus, what do we have this to be? Minus 6, right? Then you close the bracket. So automatically, what are we going to have here very fast? Your x, comma, x1, comma, what? Your y1. What is it going to give us? It's going to give us, what is your x1? Minus 2 plus 5. What's minus 2 plus 5? That's going to give you 3, comma. Then what is 3 plus minus 6? What is your plus minus? Plus times minus is minus. So what's 3? It's not that, for example, we say 3 minus 6. What's 3 minus 6? That's going to give you minus 3, right? So we're going to have 3, comma, minus 3 as the final answer. So this here is all you are going to have as your answer. And you are out of there. Find the terminal point. What is the terminal point there? 3, comma, what? Minus 3 is the answer. If you want to start this quickly with me, guess what? That is everything about your lesson number, what? 3 that we're supposed to know. And I'm going to be seeing you very fast in our lesson 4. Enjoy, bro. One love.
This class you just finished watching, of course, is brought to you by what? By the LearnLift app. Oh yes. And within the LearnLift app, you have access to all your classes from the beginning to the end. Everything is well organized for you. Every singular subject, every singular topic followed in line directly with your syllabus and your curriculum. And of course, can I tell you something lovely about the LearnLift app? Oh, this is the sweet part of it. You have access to your JAM classes within the LearnLift app. You have access to your WAEC, your NECO, your GC classes. You have access to your post-UTME classes. And that's not all. Of course, for your secondary school, you have access to your secondary school classes, whether SS1, SS2, SS3. You have access to your classes directly. And of course, if you're in the university, you have access to your 100 level as well as 200 level classes, all within the LearnLift app. And of course, your 200 level classes are for medical students. All of them are there, well structured and highly organized for you. But please, before you proceed, just head down to your Play Store or your App Store and just type what? LearnLift. Immediately you type LearnLift, of course, the app is going to pop up for you and you download the app and then you start learning immediately. And also very quickly, all you're going to do is that in the description of this video or in the comment section, just open it. You see the link to our WhatsApp channel. Click on it and you are in the WhatsApp channel already, where I'm going to be dropping information every blessed day on a regular basis. And also very important, if you want to reach out to LearnLift, this is LearnLift contact, any of the two, right? Just copy it down and then WhatsApp us, right? Either you send WhatsApp message or you put a call across to us and all of that, and we're going to attend to you immediately. Guess what? I'll see you in the next chapter. For the now, peace out. Bye.